Steps to hitting a better one-handed topspin backhand starts with the grip. So here's a continental grip right here. I turn my hand a little bit more to go past the continental grip so that this knuckle is over bevel number 1. And if you look at the bottom of the handle, you'll see that it's an octagon. So there's 8 different sides to it. Bevel number 1 is this top flat one. Once we have the grip established, then I like to do some shadow swings. I'm using the Topspin Pro. If you don't have a Topspin Pro, I really recommend getting one. The link is in the description because this not only improves my topspin, but it also improves my spacing, my footwork. I can shadow swing on it. It's a lot more fun than just going out on the court and shadow swinging with no tool out there. So what I'm gonna do is I find my grip. I'm standing to the side of the Topspin Pro. And remember that topspin is created when the ball rolls forward. So what I want you to do is start with the head of your paddle down, and you're gonna try to roll up the back of the ball. So right now I'm finishing nice and high. It's a very vertical swing. After a few turns, I can start taking my paddle back a little bit more, translating that into a forward and upward swing. So I'll start with my paddle on my hip here. Notice I'm giving myself a little space away from the Topspin Pro so that I'm not jammed coming into contact. But I'm out here and I'm rolling up over the top of the ball. So ideally, if this ball spins and this lever moves forward, you're doing it really well. So using that same swing, now I'm going to hit a few balls. Some things to consider here are you want to lead with the top edge of the paddle first. So when I'm making contact with that ball, my paddle is very neutral. So it's not closed, it's not open, but I'm coming up with that top edge first to generate the topspin. So start off simple, start standing sideways in the direction that you want to face for the backhand. So left-handers facing this way, right-handers would be facing this way. Don't start with the paddle too far back in the first progression. We're again just trying to get the feeling of swinging up, putting rotation on the ball and making it over the net. So at this stage, I'm making my swing very vertical. Notice that the angle that I start with is also the angle that I'm finishing with. I'm keeping my non-dominant hand on the paddle until I start my swing. Trying to hit a nice high shot with a little bit of rotation on it. After you've got that down, then do a little bit bigger backswing. So this time I'm starting with the paddle on my hip. Its tip of the paddle's pointed at the back fence. Still have the non-dominant hand on there. So from a ready position, I'm gonna turn and I'm simply gonna bring the paddle back low at this stage. So I'm not doing a high take back when I'm learning this, but instead I'm turning, I'm bringing this paddle down low, and then I'm trying to execute that swing. Play around with the contact point as well, because if you play the ball too far out in front, what's gonna happen is your paddle's gonna go this way, and you're gonna rotate your body too much just to meet the ball. We want to play it a little bit further back so that we can end up in this position. So watch what happens if I play the ball too far in front of me now. There you go. So if I play it too far in front of me, I'll often lose power, and notice that the paddle ends up way over here. So waiting a little bit longer to play the ball so that I can end up in this position at the end. Notice also that when I'm practicing this, I'm standing pretty close to the net. So I'm simplifying it. As I get better, I can work my way back towards the baseline. This video is sponsored by asap.com. I highly recommend them when it comes to food delivery. You can use the promo code USOPEN10 at checkout to get $10 off your order of $25 or more. Now back to the video. As I build confidence in this simple swing where I'm just taking the paddle down low as I turn, then I can make it more advanced by turning with the paddle high. So from a ready position, we want to keep that paddle head up if we're hitting the more advanced version of this backhand. And as it goes back, it's staying in this more vertical position, creating this racket head speed as the paddle comes down and into the ball. Now, one thing we don't want to see when we do this is we don't want our paddle to flip like this. So we want to keep it in this vertical stage. I like to have my ready position like this with my elbows close in and my paddles at a vertical angle. But a ready position that works really well for some players is actually having your arms a little bit extended and this elbow up. So look at this relationship here, this elbow up, kind of creating an L shape, because when you turn, you're able to maintain this relationship if you turn like this. So practice whichever method feels better for you, either elbows in, turning, but making sure that paddle stays up and doesn't flip like this, or having your arms a little bit out, elbow up, turning, and then just maintaining this relationship. You don't have to do anything with the paddle. You're just turning your body and then releasing that paddle, letting it drop and swinging. So again, I'm going to show a couple on the Topspin Pro. So keeping that paddle high as I turn and then hitting. Paddle high, then it drops below the ball and does that topspin motion. This one, I'll keep my arms out in this elbow up. I turn, the paddle stays vertical, then it drops into that topspin motion. So with this advanced swing, it's up, down, up. Good toss. As I get more advanced with this backhand, another thing I want to add is a sit and lift. And so notice how I lower to the ground before contact and I get taller as I hit. So I'm sitting and then lifting.